The coffee cup shattered against the marble floor. Gabriel's hands froze mid-reach, porcelain shards scattering across expensive Italian tile like fallen stars. 7 months pregnant, belly pressing against the black apron tied loose around his waist. He dropped to his knees. The cafe buzzed with the lunch rush. Wall Street traders shouting stock prices into phones, assistants clicking past in stilettos, the espresso machine hissing steam that smelled like burnt caramel. "Leave it." The voice came from booth 7, deep, cold as January wind off the Hudson. Gabriel looked up. The man wore a suit that cost more than Gabriel made in 6 months. Charcoal gray, fitted so perfectly it might have been painted on. Dark skin, close-cropped fade, jaw sharp enough to cut glass. His eyes were black, not brown, yet black, and they pinned Gabriel in place like a butterfly under glass. I said leave it. Not a suggestion, a command. Gabriel's omega instincts screamed. His hands trembled as he pressed them flat against his rounded stomach, feeling the baby kick once, twice. The cafe sounds faded to white noise. All he could hear was his own heartbeat thundering in his ears, feel the weight of those eyes tracking every breath he took. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Sir, I have to clean, Gabriel started. No. The man leaned forward. Gold cufflinks caught the light. You don't. A waitress named Keisha rushed over with a dustpan, shooting Gabriel a look that said move before you get fired. Gabriel stood, knees shaking, one hand supporting his lower back. The baby pressed against his ribs. He'd been on his feet since 6 that morning, ankles swollen, fingers puffy around the cheap ring he wore on his right hand. Not wedding, just decoration, something to make customers think he belonged to someone, that he was safe, unavailable, normal. The man in booth 7 hadn't stopped watching. Gabriel turned toward the kitchen, made it 3 steps before that voice stopped him cold. What's your name? Gabriel's shoulders tensed. Every Omega knew better than to answer that question from an alpha like this one. Alphas who wore Tom Ford and Patek Philippe watches. Alphas whose presence made the air feel thicker, harder to breathe. Alphas who looked at you like they were deciding whether to buy you or break you. Gabriel. The word slipped out before he could stop it. The man smiled, didn't reach his eyes. Gabriel. He said it slowly, contasting each syllable. I'm Dominic King. The name hung in the air like smoke. Gabriel knew that name. Everyone in New York knew that name, even if they pretended not to. Dominic King owned half of Manhattan's luxury import business. At least, that's what the papers said. What people whispered in back alleys and dark corners was different. Drugs, guns, money laundering, bodies in the East River. Gabriel's throat went dry. I didn't mean to drop the cup, Mr. King. I'll pay for it. Dominic's smile widened. No, you won't. He stood, 6'3" of controlled power, moving with the kind of grace that came from knowing nobody in the room could touch you. He crossed to Gabriel in 4 strides, stopped close enough that Gabriel could smell his cologne. Something expensive, cedar and smoke, she's with an undernote of gunpowder that probably wasn't cologne at all. How far along? Dominic asked. Gabriel's hand moved to his belly automatically, protective. 7 months. And the father? Gone. True enough. The truth was more complicated, messier, the kind of truth that kept Gabriel up at night staring at his ceiling, wondering how everything had gone so wrong so fast. But gone covered it. Dominic reached out. Gabriel flinched. The alpha's hand stopped inches from Gabriel's stomach, hovering there like he was waiting for permission. The cafe had gone quiet. People were staring now, phones out, probably already posting to social media about Dominic King touching some pregnant waiter in a Manhattan cafe. "May I?" Dominic asked. Gabriel should have said no. Should have stepped back, gone to the kitchen, pretended this never happened. Instead, he nodded. Dominic's palm pressed against the swell of Gabriel's belly. Warm, steady. The baby kicked hard, like it recognized something Gabriel didn't want to acknowledge. Dominic's expression shifted, just for a second, something almost soft flickering across those hard features before disappearing. "You need better shoes," Dominic said. "Those are hurting your feet." Gabriel looked down at his worn sneakers, the ones with the split seam he'd been meaning to replace for 3 months. "I'm fine." "You're not." Dominic pulled back, reaching into his jacket. Gabriel tensed, half expecting a gun, but what came out was a business card. Heavy stock, embossed lettering, a phone number, nothing else. "Call me if you need anything." "I don't need." "You will." Dominic's eyes locked onto his. "They always do." Then he was gone. She sweeping out of the cafe with 2 men Gabriel hadn't noticed before, both built like tanks in expensive suits. A black Mercedes idled at the curb, door already open. Dominic slid inside without looking back. Gabriel stared at the card in his hand. His phone buzzed in his pocket. A text from an unknown number. "I'm watching." The cafe lights flickered once. Outside, the Mercedes pulled into traffic, disappearing into the endless flow of yellow cabs and delivery trucks. Gabriel's hands wouldn't stop shaking. The card felt heavy, wrong, like holding a live grenade. Keisha grabbed his elbow. "You okay? That was Dominic King. Do you know who he is?" Gabriel nodded slowly. "Yeah, I know." What he didn't say. The baby kicked again when Dominic touched him. Kicked harder than it had in weeks. Like something waking up, recognizing pack. She recognizing home. What he didn't say. That text came before Dominic even got in the car. What he didn't say. This wasn't over. His phone buzzed again. Another text. "Booth 7, every day, noon." Gabriel looked at booth 7. Someone had left an envelope on the table, thick and white. His name written across the front in black ink. The envelope sat on Gabriel's bathroom counter for 3 hours before he opened it. He'd made it through the rest of his shift on autopilot. Refilling coffee, taking orders, smiling at customers who tipped in singles and loose change. His manager, Tyrell, had asked twice if he needed to sit down, eyeing Gabriel's swollen ankles with the kind of concern that meant you're a liability, not you're valued. Gabriel had shaken his head, kept moving, kept his hands busy so he wouldn't think about the weight of that envelope in his apron pocket. Now, at 11 p.m. in his studio apartment in Washington Heights, he stared at it under the flickering fluorescent bathroom light. The envelope was expensive, thick cream paper, the kind people used for wedding invitations or funeral announcements. Gabriel's name was written in fountain pen, the letters precise and controlled. No return address, no other markings. His phone sat next to the sink, screen dark. No more texts since that afternoon. But Gabriel could still feel those eyes on him, tracking every move, cataloging every breath. He picked up the envelope, heavier than it looked. His fingers found the seal, hesitated. The baby rolled inside him, pressing against his bladder, she making his lower back ache in that deep way that meant he'd been standing too long again. "Don't be stupid," he whispered to himself. "Just open it." He tore the seal. Inside, $5,000 in hundreds. Crisp, new, still smelling like the Federal Reserve, and a note, same black ink, same controlled handwriting, for better shoes, and whatever else you need. DK Gabriel's knees went weak. He sat on the closed toilet lid, envelope trembling in his hands. $5,000. More money than he'd seen since before. Since the father of his baby had disappeared with Gabriel's savings account and the lease to their apartment, leaving nothing but debt and a pregnancy Gabriel hadn't planned for and couldn't afford. He counted the bills twice. 50 hundreds. All real, as far as he could tell. Nothing fake about the paper or the watermarks or the way they felt between his fingers. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did you open it? Gabriel's heart hammered. He typed back with shaking fingers. I can't accept this. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, you already did. I'll return it. No, you won't. Booth 7. Tomorrow, noon. Gabriel stared at the screen. Typed. Why are you doing this? The response took longer this time. Gabriel counted his heartbeats 27 before the phone buzzed again. Because I can. Because you need it. Because that baby deserves better than worn sneakers and 12-hour shifts. Gabriel's throat tightened. He pressed his palm against his belly, feeling the familiar flutter of movement. The baby was awake now, rolling and kicking like it always did when Gabriel got stressed. His doctor said the baby could feel his emotions, that Omega pregnancies were like that. Connected, synchronized, 2 heartbeats learning to work as one. You don't know anything about me or my baby, Gabriel typed. I know you work 50 hours a week for $14 an hour. I know you live alone. I know the father left. I know you're scared. Gabriel deleted his response 3 times before settling on. Stop watching me. Can't do that. Why not? Another long pause. Gabriel's bathroom felt smaller, the walls pressing in. The fluorescent light buzzed like an angry wasp. Outside, sirens wailed down Broadway, the endless soundtrack of New York nights. When the response came, it was just 2 words. You're mine. Gabriel's phone slipped from his fingers, clattered against the tile floor. The screen didn't crack, but his reflection in the bathroom mirror did something worse. It showed him exactly what he was. 26 years old, pregnant, alone, working a job that barely covered rent and utilities, let alone diapers and formula and everything else a baby needed. He picked up the phone, typed, I'm not anybody's. We'll see. Then nothing. No more texts, no more buzzing. Just silence and $5,000 and the weight of choices Gabriel didn't want to make. He looked at the money again, thought about the electric bill he'd been avoiding, the pediatrician appointment he'd canceled because the copay was $60 he didn't have, the crib he'd been eyeing at the Goodwill for weeks, waiting for the price to drop from $75 to something manageable. The baby kicked hard, twice like a question. Gabriel gathered the bills, folded them carefully, tucked them back in the envelope. He should burn it. Throw it away. Return it to Booth 7 tomorrow with a firm no and a request to be left alone. Should. Instead, he put it in his bedroom drawer under the maternity scrubs he wore on particularly bad days, where nobody would find it but him. His shift started at 6 a.m. He needed sleep. But when he lay down in his second-hand bed with the springs that poked through the mattress, all he could see was Dominic King's hand on his belly, that moment of softness before the mask came back down. You're mine. Gabriel closed his eyes. The baby settled, finally, curling into some comfortable position against his ribs. Outside, the city breathed and moved and lived, Millions of people who would never know his name or care about his choices. His phone buzzed one last time. Sweet dreams, Gabriel. The shoes arrived at dawn. Gabriel woke to knocking, 3 sharp raps against his apartment door that sent his heart into his throat. He rolled out of bed, one hand supporting his belly, the other reaching for the baseball bat he kept next to the nightstand. 6:15 a.m. Nobody knocked at 6:15 unless something was wrong. He checked the peephole. Empty hallway, fluorescent lights buzzing, no one there. Another knock, lower this time. Gabriel looked down. A box sat on his doormat. Large, white, tied with black ribbon. Gabriel's hands tightened on the bat. He opened the door 2 inches, chain still latched, and peered out. The hallway was empty. Mrs. Chen's apartment across the hall stayed dark and silent. Down the corridor, someone's television murmured Spanish-language news. Soon he unlatched the chain, pulled the box inside, closed the door, triple-locked it. The box was from Saks Fifth Avenue. Gabriel knew the logo. He'd walked past that store 1,000 times, never gone in, never even considered it. The clothes in the windows cost more than his monthly rent. Inside the box, shoes, running shoes, New Balance, the kind with actual arch support and cushioning, not the $15 knockoffs he'd been wearing until the soles separated. In his size, exactly his size. And a note. Better. Wear them today. DK Gabriel's stomach turned. He checked his phone. No new messages, no calls, no explanation for how Dominic King knew his shoe size or his address or what floor he lived on in a building that didn't have a doorman or security or any way to keep people out who didn't belong. The shoes fit perfectly. Gabriel stared at his feet, the pristine white leather, the soft insoles that actually cushioned his heels. His old shoes sat by the door, worn and broken and honest. These new ones felt like a lie, like acceptance, like admitting something he wasn't ready to admit. His phone buzzed. Booth 7. Noon. Don't be late. Gabriel typed back. How did you know where I live? I know everything, Gabriel. Address, social security number, medical records, the name of the father who left you, the hospital where you'll deliver. Everything. Gabriel's fingers went numb. He sat on his bed, staring at the words, reading them over and over until they stopped making sense. Medical records. That was illegal. That was... His phone rang. Unknown number. Gabriel almost didn't answer. Hello? Where are the shoes? Dominic's voice, smooth and cold. You'll hurt yourself otherwise. How did you get my medical records? Does it matter? Yes, Gabriel said, but his voice cracked. Yes, it matters. Silence. Gabriel could hear breathing on the other end, steady and controlled. Background noise, traffic, car horn, someone shouting in rapid-fire Mandarin. Booth 7, Dominic said. We'll talk then. I'm not coming. Yes, you are. The line went dead. Gabriel sat there holding his phone, staring at the shoes, feeling the baby shift and roll inside him. His hands found his belly automatically, that protective gesture every Omega learned. Palm flat, fingers spread, shielding what mattered most. The money was still in his drawer. $5,000. Enough to solve every problem he had right now. Enough to make the next 6 months bearable. Enough to make him dependent, grateful, owned. He looked at the clock. 6:45. His shift started at 7:30. He needed to shower, eat something, pretend everything was normal. The shoes stared at him from the floor. Gabriel picked up his old sneakers. The ones with the split seam and the worn soles, and the honest poverty that came from working hard and still falling short. He could wear these. Prove a point. Show Dominic King that money and power and invasive background checks didn't mean control. Could. His feet ached just looking at them. 7 months pregnant. 12-hour shift ahead. Concrete floors that turned his ankles into balloons by hour 6. Gabriel put on the new shoes. They felt like surrender. He made it to work at 7:20, feet painless for the first time in months. Tyrell noticed immediately, she eyeing the pristine white leather with the kind of suspicion that came from managing a cafe where most employees arrived in whatever didn't have holes. New shoes? Tyrell asked. Gift, Gabriel said. From who? Gabriel tied his apron, checking his order pad and pen. A customer. Tyrell's expression shifted. What kind of customer gives $100 shoes to their waiter? The kind who tips well, Gabriel lied. He made it through the morning rush without thinking about booth 7. Poured coffee, took orders, smiled at traders and lawyers and tourists who left 20% and didn't remember his name. By 11:30, his hands were shaking. By 11:45, he'd checked his phone 6 times. At 11:55, Keisha grabbed his arm. He's here, she whispered. Gabriel looked up. Dominic sat in booth 7, same charcoal suit, same gold cufflinks, same eyes that tracked Gabriel across the cafe like a predator watching prey. 2 men flanked him, different ones from yesterday, both wearing dark suits and the kind of earpieces that meant security, protection, muscle. Gabriel's feet moved before his brain caught up. He crossed the cafe floor, order pad in hand, stopping at the edge of booth 7. Coffee? Gabriel asked. His voice came out steadier than he felt. Dominic smiled. Sit down. I'm working. Tyrell won't mind. Dominic gestured to the seat across from him. 5 minutes. Gabriel glanced back. Tyrell was watching from behind the counter, expression unreadable. The cafe had gone quiet again. That same heavy silence from yesterday. Everyone watching without watching, pretending not to notice. Gabriel sat. Dominic leaned back, studying him with those black eyes that saw too much. The shoes fit. You broke into my apartment. No, I had them delivered. You know where I live, my medical records, my... Gabriel's voice dropped. You have no right. I have every right, Dominic said calmly. You're carrying a child, alone, working yourself into the ground. Someone needs to protect you. I don't need protection. You're about to pass out from low blood pressure. When's the last time you ate? Gabriel's hand moved to his belly. He'd skipped breakfast. Again. Couldn't stomach anything before work. Too anxious, too stressed, too aware that food cost money and money was running out. Dominic raised one hand. A waitress Gabriel didn't recognize appeared with a plate. Eggs, toast, fruit, orange juice. The smell made Gabriel's stomach growl. Eat, Dominic said. I told you I'm not... Eat, Gabriel. Not a command. Something worse. Concern. Like Dominic actually cared whether Gabriel starved himself or not. Gabriel picked up the fork. The food tasted like guilt. Gabriel ate anyway, fork scraping against expensive porcelain, while Dominic watched in silence. The eggs were perfect. Soft, scrambled, butter-rich, probably made by the cafe's head chef instead of the line cook who usually handled breakfast orders. The toast was thick-cut sourdough, still warm. The fruit was fresh, not canned. Berries that actually tasted like something instead of generic sweetness. Gabriel's hands trembled with each bite. The baby settled, content, like it knew nutrition was finally coming. He'd been rationing meals for weeks. Protein bar for breakfast, half a sandwich for lunch. Whatever he could afford for dinner that would stretch across multiple days. His prenatal vitamins sat unopened in his bathroom because the copay was $30 and there was always something more urgent. Dominic's men stayed silent. One watched the door. The other watched Gabriel. Both had the kind of stillness that came from violence waiting to happen. "When's your next doctor's appointment?" Dominic asked. Gabriel set down his fork. "That's none of your business." "You missed your last two." Gabriel's chest tightened. "You can't know that." "I told you. I know everything." Dominic pulled out his phone, swiped once, turned it toward Gabriel. Medical records. Complete. Prenatal visits. Blood work results. The ultrasound from 16 weeks that showed a healthy baby boy with Gabriel's nose and a father's genetics that didn't matter because the father was gone. Gabriel's vision blurred. "That's illegal. That's necessary." Dominic pulled the phone back. "You're anemic. Your blood pressure is too low. You need another ultrasound to check the baby's growth. When were you planning to handle that?" "I was..." Gabriel stopped. He'd been planning nothing, just hoping. Praying the baby would be okay, that his body would do what it needed to do, that he'd make it to delivery without complications he couldn't afford to treat. Dominic leaned forward. "I have a proposition." Gabriel's stomach dropped. Here it was. The price. The exchange. Nothing came free, especially not from men like Dominic King, men whose generosity always had strings attached. "I'm listening," Gabriel said carefully. "Let me take care of you. Medical bills, rent, food, everything you need until the baby is born. After that, we renegotiate." "In exchange for what?" Dominic's expression didn't change. "Your time. Lunch here every day. Dinner twice a week. Let me see you're safe. Let me know the baby's healthy." Gabriel laughed, sharp and bitter. "That's it? You want to buy lunch dates?" "I want to make sure you don't collapse at work and lose the baby because you're too stubborn to ask for help." "I don't need..." "Yes, you do." Dominic's voice dropped, quiet and absolute. "Look at yourself, Gabriel. You're 7 months pregnant, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals, wearing shoes with holes. Your apartment has mold in the bathroom, and your landlord hasn't fixed the heat in 3 weeks. You're one emergency away from losing everything." Gabriel's throat closed. Every word was true. Every word was a knife. "I've been managing," he whispered. "You've been surviving. There's a difference." Silence. The cafe buzzed around them, orders being called, coffee machines hissing, customers laughing. Normal life, continuing like Gabriel's world, wasn't cracking open. "Why me?" Gabriel asked. "You could have anyone. Why are you doing this?" Dominic's jaw tightened. For the first time, something flickered across his face, something raw and dangerous and quickly buried. "Because I can. Because you need it. Because..." He stopped, looked away. One of his men shifted, hand moving to his earpiece like he'd received a message. "Sir," the guard said quietly, "we have a situation." Dominic's expression went flat. He stood, buttoning his suit jacket with precise, controlled movements. "We're not done talking." "I haven't agreed to anything," Gabriel said. "You will." Dominic reached into his jacket, pulled out a phone, new, expensive, still in the box. He set it on the table. "My number's programmed in. Use it when you're ready to stop being stubborn." I'm not. You are. Dominic's hand moved toward Gabriel's face, stopped inches away like he was remembering himself, remembering the audience. But I like that about you. Makes this interesting. Then he was gone, sweeping out with his men, leaving Gabriel alone at booth 7 with half-eaten eggs and a phone that probably cost more than his monthly rent. Keisha appeared at his elbow. What the hell was that? I don't know, Gabriel said honestly. The phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check your bank account. Gabriel pulled out his personal phone with shaking hands, opened his banking app, stared at the screen until the numbers stopped making sense. Someone had deposited $10,000 into his account. His vision swam. He gripped the table edge, breathing hard, fighting the urge to vomit. $10,000. More money than he'd ever had. More money than he'd thought he'd see in years. Another text. Medical bills are paid. Rent's covered for 6 months. Buy groceries. Take care of yourself. This isn't negotiable. Gabriel typed back with trembling fingers. I can't accept this. You already did. See you tomorrow. Booth 7. Noon. Gabriel stared at his phone. At the new phone Dominic had left. At his bank account that now showed a balance he couldn't explain, couldn't return, and couldn't refuse without consequences he didn't understand. Tyrell appeared at the table. Gabriel, you okay? I think I just sold my soul, Gabriel whispered. For how much? Gabriel showed him the bank account. Tyrell whistled low. Hell, I'd sell mine for half that. What did he want? Lunch dates, Gabriel said. But it felt like a lie. Like there was more Dominic hadn't said. Pieces Gabriel couldn't see yet. A trap closing around him with every dollar, every gift, every moment of dangerous kindness. The baby kicked. Hard. Twice. Like approval. Like recognition. Like coming home to something Gabriel didn't want to name. Gabriel bought groceries for the first time in 3 months. Real groceries. Not ramen and canned soup and whatever was on clearance. Actual food. Chicken breasts, fresh vegetables, milk that wasn't about to expire, bread without mold spots. He stood in the Whole Foods checkout line at 8 p.m. on Tuesday, watching the total climb past $200, feeling sick and grateful and terrified all at once. The cashier smiled. Big shopping day. Something like that, Gabriel said. He took the subway home, 6 bags balanced awkwardly around his pregnant belly, the new phone Dominic gave him burning a hole in his pocket. He hadn't turned it on yet, hadn't decided if he was keeping it or throwing it in the Hudson River with the shoes and the money and everything else that came with Dominic King's attention. His apartment building looked worse after a day of feeling like maybe things could be better. The graffiti on the lobby wall seemed brighter, the broken elevator more broken, the smell of garbage and old cigarette smoke more suffocating. Gabriel climbed 4 flights of stairs, stopping twice to catch his breath, one hand pressed against his lower back where the ache had become permanent. His door was locked, no new packages, no surprises. He unpacked groceries in his tiny kitchen, filling the refrigerator that usually held condiments and expired takeout. The shelves looked strange with actual food on them. Abundant. Wrong. Like playing house in someone else's life. His personal phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Did you eat today? Gabriel's hand stilled on a package of chicken. He typed back, yes. Proof. You want a photo of my dinner? Yes. Gabriel stared at the phone, at the chicken waiting to be cooked, at the vegetables he'd bought because his doctor said the baby needed nutrients Gabriel hadn't been able to afford. He cooked. Simple. Pan-fried chicken, She roasted broccoli, rice, food he could actually digest, food that didn't make him nauseous. By the time he sat down to eat, his personal phone had buzzed 3 more times. Waiting, Gabriel. Don't make me come over there. That was a joke. Mostly. Gabriel took a photo of his plate, sent it. Response came immediately. Good. Eat all of it. You're too thin. I'm 7 months pregnant. And you've lost weight. Eat. Gabriel set his phone down. Ate. The food was good. Better than anything he'd made in weeks, because he'd actually had ingredients to work with. Time to cook properly instead of microwaving something between shifts. The baby moved, settling into a comfortable position. Gabriel's hand found his belly automatically, palm pressing where tiny feet kicked. He'd felt movement since week 20, but it had gotten stronger lately, more insistent. Chattered like the baby was running out of room and wanted everyone to know. His phone rang, the new one, the one Dominic gave him. Gabriel stared at it, let it ring 5 times before answering. Hello? You turned it on. Dominic sounded pleased. I was curious. Liar. You were hoping I'd call. Gabriel's grip tightened on the phone. Why are you doing this? We covered this yesterday. No. You gave me reasons, not the truth. Silence. Gabriel could hear background noise, classical music, glasses clinking, low conversation, somewhere expensive, somewhere Gabriel would never belong. The truth is complicated, Dominic said finally. Try me. I want you. Gabriel's breath caught. You don't know me. I know enough. Omega, pregnant, alone. Strong enough to survive, but not strong enough to thrive. You need an alpha, whether you admit it or not. I don't need anyone. Everyone needs someone, Gabriel. You're just too proud to accept it. Gabriel stood, pacing his small kitchen. And you think throwing money at me changes that? I think making sure you and your baby don't end up homeless is a decent start. What happens when I can't pay you back? Who said anything about paying back? Nothing's free, Gabriel said, especially not from men like you. Men like me. Dominic's voice went cold. And what kind of man is that? Gabriel stopped pacing. The kind who knows my medical records, my address, my bank account, the kind who has guards with guns and earpieces, the kind people whisper about. You looked me up. Everyone knows who you are. But not what I am. Dominic paused. That bothers you? Yes. Good. It should. Another pause. Booth 7, tomorrow, noon. Don't skip it. And if I do, I'll come find you. And you won't like where I find you or what state you're in when I do. The line went dead. Gabriel set the phone down with shaking hands. He looked at his apartment, the mold in the bathroom, the radiator that clanged but never produced heat, the window that didn't close all the way and let winter air seep through. He thought about the money in his bank account, the rent paid for 6 months, the medical bills erased like they'd never existed. He thought about Dominic's hand on his belly, that moment of softness, that flicker of something human under all that control. I want you. Gabriel's phone buzzed. Personal phone this time. Text from a number he hadn't seen in 8 months. Hey, Gabriel. I know I don't deserve to reach out, but I heard you're still pregnant. We should talk. Gabriel's blood went cold. Marcus, the father, the man who'd taken everything and left Gabriel with nothing but debt and a baby he'd never wanted. Another text. I made mistakes. I want to fix them. Can we meet? Gabriel deleted both messages, blocked the number, sat on his second-hand couch with his hands pressed against his belly, feeling the baby kick and roll like it knew something was wrong. His new phone buzzed. Dominic. Who was that? Gabriel's stomach dropped. How do you know someone texted me? I'm monitoring your phone. For your safety. That's not safety. That's surveillance. Same thing when you're carrying my... The message cut off. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. When you're in danger, the message finished. Gabriel stared at those words. At the almost slip. At what Dominic had been about to say before he caught himself. When you're carrying my... My what? His personal phone buzzed again. Different number, same message. Gabriel, it's Marcus. I need to see you. I know I messed up. Please. Gabriel's hands went numb. The new phone rang. Don't respond to him, Dominic said without preamble. Block that number too. How are you? Monitoring, I told you. Every call, every text, every person who tries to contact you. That's insane. That's protection. Dominic's voice went hard. Marcus is bad news. He'll use you, take what he needs, and disappear again. Don't let him back in. How do you know about Marcus? I know everything, Gabriel, including why he left, including what he took, including the debt collectors he sent to your door 3 months ago. Gabriel's vision blurred. The debt collectors had been terrifying. 2 men in cheap suits demanding $18,000 Marcus owed to someone Gabriel had never heard of, threatening to take it from Gabriel if Marcus couldn't be found. I paid them off, Dominic said quietly. Last week. You don't owe anyone anything anymore. Gabriel's throat closed. Why? Because you're mine, and what's mine stays protected. I'm not... Yes, you are. You just haven't accepted it yet. Gabriel woke to someone breaking into his apartment. 3 a.m., the sound of metal scraping against metal, his doorknob being picked, worked open with tools that whispered instead of crashed. Gabriel's eyes snapped open in the darkness, heart hammering against his ribs. He reached for his phone, the new one. Hit the emergency button Dominic had programmed in. The door swung open. Gabriel pressed himself against the headboard, one hand on his belly, the other gripping the baseball bat. A figure moved through his apartment, backlit by hallway fluorescence. Big, male, moving with purpose toward his bedroom. Gabriel Winters? The voice was unfamiliar. Rough, Brooklyn accent thick as tar. Gabriel's finger hovered over the call button. Who are you? Someone who wants to talk about Dominic King. The figure stepped into the bedroom doorway. Gabriel could make out details now. Leather jacket, buzz cut, scar running from eyebrow to jawline. Not Dominic's men. Someone else. Someone worse. You got 30 seconds before I scream, Gabriel said. His voice came out steadier than he felt. Scream all you want. Nobody in this building calls cops. The man moved closer. Here's how this works. You stop seeing Dominic. You give back everything he gave you. You disappear. Or what? Or we make you disappear. The man's hand moved to his waistband. Gabriel saw metal. Gun. Dominic's got enemies. You're just collateral. Gabriel's thumb pressed the emergency button. The man lunged. Gabriel swung the bat, connected with the man's shoulder. Not hard enough, wrong angle, but enough to make him stumble. Gabriel rolled off the bed, hitting the floor with a grunt that knocked the air from his lungs. The baby kicked frantically. Gabriel's hand found his belly, protective, as he scrambled toward the bedroom door. The man grabbed his ankle. Gabriel kicked backward. His heel connected with something soft. The man swore, grip loosening. Gabriel pulled free. He made it 3 steps before arms wrapped around him from behind, lifting him off his feet. "Stop fighting," the man hissed in his ear. "This doesn't have to hurt." Gabriel drove his elbow backward into ribs. The man's grip tightened, squeezing Gabriel's belly, making the baby thrash. Pain shot through Gabriel's abdomen, sharp, wrong, the kind of pain that meant something bad was happening. "Let him go." The voice came from the apartment doorway. Cold. Absolute. Dominic stood there in a three-piece suit despite the hour, flanked by 4 men with guns drawn. His expression was empty, controlled, but his eyes were black fire. The man holding Gabriel froze. "I said let him go." Dominic took 1 step forward. "Or I put a bullet in your spine and let you think about it while you bleed out." The arms around Gabriel disappeared. He stumbled, caught himself on the wall, one hand pressed against his belly where the pain was spreading. Something felt wrong. Too much pressure. Too much cramping. The baby had gone still. Dominic was across the room in 3 strides. His hands found Gabriel's face, tilting it up to the light. "Are you hurt?" "The baby!" Gabriel's voice broke. "Something's wrong." Dominic's jaw went tight. He scooped Gabriel up like he weighed nothing, turning toward his men. "Hospital! Now! And deal with him!" The man who'd broken in started to speak. One of Dominic's men hit him across the face with a gun. The sound was wet. Final. Gabriel buried his face against Dominic's chest as they moved through the apartment, down the stairs, into a waiting Mercedes that hadn't been there 5 minutes ago. The interior smelled like leather and cologne and danger. Dominic held him the entire ride, one hand pressed against Gabriel's belly, feeling for movement. "Talk to me," Dominic said quietly. "What hurts?" "Everything. Cramping. He's not moving." "He will." But Dominic's voice was too controlled, too careful. "We're 3 minutes out." The hospital was Mount Sinai. Private entrance. Staff waiting. Someone had called ahead. Nurses appeared with a wheelchair. A doctor Gabriel had never seen. Equipment that looked expensive and efficient. They wheeled him through hallways that blurred together, Dominic keeping pace, refusing to let go of Gabriel's hand. "Sir, you can't," a nurse started. "Try stopping me." Dominic's voice could have cut glass. They didn't try. The exam room was too bright, too cold. Gabriel lay on the table while a doctor pressed an ultrasound wand against his belly, on gel cold and slick against his skin. The monitor stayed silent. No heartbeat, no movement, just static and Gabriel's own pulse thundering in his ears. "Please," Gabriel whispered. "Please." The doctor adjusted something, pressed harder, and then, there, a flutter on the screen, a heartbeat, fast but steady. "Baby's fine," the doctor said. "Heart rate's elevated but strong, no signs of distress." Gabriel's vision blurred. Relief hit him like a wave, drowning everything else. He'd been so sure, so certain something had broken that couldn't be fixed. Dominic's hand tightened around his. "You're sure?" "Positive. But I want to keep him overnight for observation. That was a traumatic event. We need to monitor for contractions, make sure nothing develops." Gabriel nodded. Couldn't speak. Couldn't do anything but stare at the monitor where his baby's heart kept beating, kept fighting, kept living despite everything. Dominic leaned down, lips close to Gabriel's ear. "I'm sorry. This is my fault. I should have had men on your building." "You can't protect me every second," Gabriel said. "Watch me." They admitted Gabriel to a private room. Expensive, quiet, the kind of room insurance didn't cover and Gabriel couldn't afford. Dominic made calls while nurses hooked Gabriel up to monitors, blood pressure, fetal heart rate, contraction tracking. Everything looked good, stable, safe. At 5 a.m., Dominic's phone rang. He stepped into the hallway. Gabriel couldn't hear the conversation, but he could see Dominic through the window. The tension in his shoulders, the way his free hand clenched and unclenched. When Dominic came back, his expression was carved from stone. "The man who broke in," Gabriel said. "What happened to him? He won't be breaking into anywhere again." "Did you kill him?" Dominic sat in the chair next to Gabriel's bed. "Do you want the truth or the comfortable lie?" Gabriel's throat went dry. "Truth." "Not yet, but I will if he doesn't tell me who sent him." Dominic leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "This is what my world looks like, Gabriel. Violence, threats, people who'd hurt you just to hurt me. You sure you want this?" "I never wanted this." "But you have it anyway." Dominic's hand found Gabriel's, fingers threading through his. "And now you know why I'm watching, why I'm protecting you. Because this doesn't stop. My enemies will keep coming, and you're the weakness they'll exploit." Gabriel pulled his hand away. "So I'm just a target?" "No, you're—" Dominic stopped, started again. "You're more than that." "Then what am I?" Dominic stood, paced to the window, looked out at Manhattan waking up, sunrise painting skyscrapers gold and pink. "You're the first thing in 10 years that's made me feel human, and that terrifies me." Gabriel's breath caught. "Dominic, get some rest. I'll be here when you wake up." But when Gabriel opened his eyes 3 hours later, Dominic was gone, only his cologne remained, fading into antiseptic hospital smell, and on the bedside table a note in black ink. "Stay here until I say otherwise. You're not safe at your apartment anymore." DK Gabriel crumpled the note, dropped it in the trash, stared at the monitors tracking his baby's heartbeat and his own rising blood pressure, and the reality he couldn't escape. Marcus texted again while Gabriel was staring at the ceiling. "I know about Dominic. I know what he is. Meet me and I'll tell you everything." They released Gabriel at noon with orders to rest and a prescription he couldn't pronounce. Dominic was waiting in the hallway. Same suit from yesterday, somehow still pressed and perfect. 2 different men flanked him. These ones bigger, meaner looking, with the kind of scars that came from knife fights and broken bottles. "You're not going back to your apartment," Dominic said without preamble. "That's my home. That's a crime scene. My men are cleaning it now." Dominic gestured toward the elevator. "You're staying somewhere safe until I handle this." Gabriel didn't move. "Handle what?" "The people who sent that man. The people who know where you live. The people who think hurting you is an acceptable strategy." "And where exactly am I staying?" Dominic's expression shifted, almost apologetic. "My penthouse." Gabriel laughed, sharp, bitter. "No." "Gabriel, I said no. I'm not moving into your home like some kleptomega waiting for his alpha to come back from work. That's not what this is." "Then what is it?" Gabriel's voice rose. A nurse glanced their way, concerned. Gabriel lowered his volume, but not his intensity. "You paying my bills? Watching my phone? Putting guards on me? Now moving me into your penthouse? What do you call that?" "Protection. Control." Dominic stepped closer. His cologne filled Gabriel's senses, cedar and smoke and something darker underneath. "You think I want this? You think I plan to care about some pregnant omega working in a cafe? This is as messed up for me as it is for you. Then let me go." "Can't." Dominic's jaw tightened. "Tried. Failed. You're in my head now and I can't get you out." Gabriel's hand found his belly. The baby was moving again, rolling and kicking like everything was normal, like the world wasn't tilting sideways. "What do you want from me?" "Everything." Dominic's voice dropped. "And nothing. I want you safe. I want the baby healthy. I want to know you're eating and sleeping and not working yourself into the ground. I want—" He stopped, looked away. "What?" Gabriel pressed. "I want you to be mine. Officially. Completely. No more pretending this is just charity." Gabriel's breath caught. "You mean—" "I mean claiming, bonding. The whole thing omegas and alphas do when they're serious." Dominic met his eyes. "I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But I also know that attack last night was just the beginning. They'll keep coming. And unbonded omegas are easier targets. So this is still about protection. It's about everything." Dominic's hand rose, hesitated, fell back to his side. "I can't explain it. From the moment I saw you in that cafe, something clicked. Like recognition. Like coming home to something I didn't know I'd lost." Gabriel's omega instinct screamed at him to say yes. To accept the alpha offering protection and provision, and everything Gabriel had been struggling to provide himself. But his brain, his logic, his stubborn independence that had kept him alive this long, all of it recoiled. "I need time," Gabriel said. "You don't have time. They know where you live. They know your schedule. They know you're vulnerable." "Then I'll move. Find a new apartment. You change my routine." "With what money? You think that 10,000 will last forever?" Dominic's expression hardened. "You're 7 months pregnant. Nobody's hiring you. Nobody's renting to you without proof of income. You're trapped, Gabriel, whether you admit it or not." The words hit like fists. True. All of it true. Gabriel had checked apartment listings yesterday. Everything in his price range was worse than what he had, and landlords took one look at his belly and found excuses. Too pregnant. Too risky. Too likely to need accommodations they didn't want to provide. "So my choices are be claimed by you or be homeless," Gabriel said flatly. "Your choices are be protected or be dead." Dominic's voice went cold. "Because that's where this ends. My enemies will keep escalating. Next time it won't be one man with a gun. It'll be 3, 5, however many it takes." Gabriel's vision blurred. Tears he'd been holding back since last night finally spilled over. He was so tired. Tired of fighting. Tired of being scared. Tired of pretending he could do this alone when every day proved he couldn't. "I hate you," he whispered. "I know." Dominic's hand finally made contact, cupping Gabriel's face with unexpected gentleness. "Hate me all you want, but let me keep you alive." The elevator dinged. Dominic's men moved into position, blocking the hallway in both directions, creating a corridor of safety that felt like a cage. Gabriel wiped his eyes. "If I agree to this, if I stay at your penthouse, it doesn't mean I'm agreeing to bonding, or claiming, or anything permanent. Understood? And I want my own room, my own space. I'd no expectations. Done. And you stop monitoring my phone." Dominic hesitated. "Can't do that. Not while you're in danger." "Then I walk." They stared at each other. Gabriel could see the calculation happening behind Dominic's eyes, weighing control against cooperation, protection against privacy. "Fine," Dominic said finally. "No monitoring, but you keep the emergency button active, and you tell me if anyone suspicious contacts you. Deal." They took the elevator down. The Mercedes waited at a private exit, engine running, doors open. Gabriel slid into the back seat, Dominic beside him, guards filling a second vehicle behind them. The convoy pulled into Manhattan traffic, heading uptown toward whatever gilded cage Dominic called home. Gabriel's personal phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Dominic killed my brother. That's why I left. I was running from him. And now he's got you. Get out while you can. Gabriel's blood went cold. He looked at Dominic, who was on his own phone, speaking rapid Italian to someone about security protocols and background checks. Did you kill someone named? Gabriel stopped. Realized he didn't know Marcus's last name. 8 months together, and he'd never thought to ask. Did you kill Marcus's brother? Dominic's expression went blank. Where did you hear that? Marcus texted me. I thought you blocked him. Different number. Gabriel held up his phone. Is it true? Dominic set his phone down. Yes. The word hung between them. Simple, honest, damning. Why? Gabriel's voice came out small. Because Marcus's brother tried to move product through my territory without permission. Because he thought being related to your ex gave him protection. Because he was wrong. Dominic's tone never changed. Flat. Factual. I gave him chances, warnings. He ignored them. So I handled it. Killed him. Cleanly, quickly. Made sure the body was found so everyone knew what happened when you disrespect my territory. Gabriel's stomach turned. And Marcus? Ran. Smart man. Knew he was next if he stayed. Dominic leaned forward. Is that why he contacted you? Revenge? He said he wants to warn me. He wants to use you. Get close, gather information, find a weakness. Dominic's jaw tightened. That's what he does. Uses people. Used you once already. You don't know that. I know he emptied your bank account, maxed out credit cards in your name, left you with $18,000 in debt to loan sharks who don't forgive. Dominic pulled out his phone, swiped, showed Gabriel a file. Police reports, bank statements, photos of Marcus with other Omegas, other victims. He's done this before. You're not special. You're just the one who got pregnant. Gabriel's hands shook. He'd known Marcus was bad news, had suspected the debt wasn't coincidental, but seeing it laid out like evidence at trial, that was different. That was proof of how stupid Gabriel had been, how easily manipulated. Why didn't you tell me this before? Gabriel asked. Would you have believed me? Dominic closed the file. Or would you have thought I was making it up to control you? Gabriel didn't answer. Couldn't. The Mercedes pulled up to a building in the Upper East Side. Doorman, marble lobby. The kind of place where monthly maintenance fees cost more than Gabriel's old rent. Dominic's penthouse was on the 42nd floor. The penthouse had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. Gabriel stood in the living room, staring at trees and walking paths, and the reservoir gleaming like hammered silver in afternoon light. Behind him, Dominic's men carried in bags Gabriel didn't remember packing. Someone had gone to his apartment, gathered his things, brought them here without asking permission. Your room is down the hall, Dominic said. Second door on the left, private bathroom, walk-in closet, whatever you need. Gabriel turned. The penthouse was ridiculous. Exposed brick, modern furniture, art that probably cost more than Gabriel would make in his lifetime. Everything was clean, perfect, soulless. I'll have a doctor come by tomorrow, Dominic continued. Check on you and the baby. Make sure everything's stable after last night. I'm fine. Humor me. Dominic loosened his tie. the first sign of tension Gabriel had seen since the hospital. My chef will prepare dinner. Let him know if you have cravings or food aversions. You have a chef. I have staff. Chef, housekeeper, security. They're all vetted, all loyal. You're safe here. Safe. The word felt hollow. Gabriel walked to the windows, pressed his palm against glass that was probably bulletproof. 42 floors below, people moved through their lives without guards or threats or mafia bosses controlling every decision. How long? Gabriel asked. How long what? How long do I have to stay here? Dominic was quiet for a moment. On until it's safe. And when will that be? I don't know. Gabriel closed his eyes. So I'm a prisoner. You're protected. Same thing. Gabriel turned. You killed Marcus's brother. Who else have you killed? Dominic's expression didn't change. Do you want a number or a reason? Both. 43 people. All of them earned it. Most of them were trying to kill me or mine first. Dominic crossed to the bar, poured 2 fingers of whiskey into crystal that caught the light. I'm not a good man, Gabriel. I've never pretended to be, but I protect what's mine. Always. I'm not yours. You are. You just haven't accepted it yet. Dominic drank, set the glass down with a sound like a gavel. Your ex is planning something. That text wasn't random. He's testing you, seeing if you'll meet him, if you're vulnerable enough to manipulate. How do you know? Because it's what I'd do. Dominic pulled out his phone, showed Gabriel a photo. Marcus, standing outside a building Gabriel didn't recognize, talking to 2 men in suits. He met with the Valentino family yesterday. They're my main competition. He's offering information in exchange for protection. Gabriel's stomach dropped. Information about what? You, me, the baby. Dominic zoomed in on the photo. He knows you're pregnant. He knows I'm involved. He's selling that information to people who'd use it against me. So fix it. You're good at that, right? Handling problems? I could. Dominic's voice went flat. But killing your ex might bother you, and I'm trying not to do things that bother you. How considerate. Gabriel, don't. Gabriel held up his hand. Just don't. I need time to think. Alone. He walked to the second door on the left. The room inside was massive. King bed, sitting area, windows facing north toward the park. His bags sat on the bed, already unpacked by invisible staff. His maternity clothes hung in the closet next to empty space that seemed to be waiting for him to fill it with better things. Gabriel sat on the edge of the bed, pressed both hands against his belly. The baby moved, restless, uncomfortable. Join the club, Gabriel thought. His phone buzzed. Marcus again. Meet me, tomorrow. The cafe where you work. Noon. I'll tell you everything Dominic's hiding. Gabriel stared at the message, at the offer of truth from a liar, at the choice between trusting a man who'd abandoned him or a man who'd killed 43 people. He typed back. Why should I believe anything you say? Response came fast. Because I loved you. Still do. And I can't watch him destroy you like he destroyed my family. Gabriel deleted the message, blocked the number, pulled up Dominic's contact instead. Marcus wants to meet tomorrow. Noon. My cafe. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Let him come. I'll be waiting. Gabriel's hands trembled. What am I doing? The baby kicked twice, like an answer, like approval. Gabriel lay back on the bed that was too soft, in the room that was too nice, in the penthouse that was too perfect. Outside, the sun set over Central Park, painting the sky orange and purple and red like a warning. His phone rang. Unknown number. Gabriel almost didn't answer. Hello? Gabriel Winters. Female voice. Professional. This is Detective Sarah Chen, NYPD. I need to ask you some questions about Dominic King. Gabriel sat up. What kind of questions? The kind that might keep you alive. Can we meet? I don't. Tomorrow. 10 a.m. coffee shop on Amsterdam and 72nd. Come alone. If King's men are watching, we can't talk. A pause. You're in danger, Gabriel, more than you know, and I can help, if you let me. The line went dead. Gabriel stared at his phone, at the choice crystallizing in front of him. Meet the detective. Learn what danger he was really in. Maybe find a way out. Or stay loyal to Dominic. Trust the alpha who'd killed 43 people but claimed to care. His door opened. Dominic stood there, tie gone, shirt unbuttoned at the collar. Dinner's ready. I'm not hungry. Liar. Dominic leaned against the doorframe. You're thinking too much. I can see it. A detective called. Wants to meet. Says she can help. Dominic's expression went cold. Sarah Chen. You know her. She's been investigating me for 3 years. Hasn't found anything that'll stick. Dominic crossed his arms. She'll use you. Wear a wire, get me talking, build a case. Then she'll drop you and you'll have a target on your back from both sides. Maybe I should risk it. Maybe you should trust me. Give me one reason why I should. Gabriel stood. One honest reason. Dominic was silent for a long moment. Then, because that baby you're carrying, he's mine. Gabriel's world tilted. What? 7 months ago, the night Marcus left. He went to a bar, got drunk, went home with someone. Dominic stepped into the room. That someone was me. We didn't exchange names, didn't exchange numbers. Just one night. Then you disappeared. Gabriel's memory crashed back. Fragments. A bar in Brooklyn. Too much wine. A stranger with black eyes and careful hands. Waking up alone with a headache and regret, and no memory of a name. No. Gabriel whispered. That's not. I've been looking for you ever since. Hired investigators. Tracked down every Omega who matched the description. Then 3 weeks ago, I walked into that cafe and there you were. Pregnant. Alone. Carrying my child. Gabriel couldn't breathe. The penthouse walls pressed inward, stealing air, stealing space. Dominic's words echoed. That baby you're carrying, he's mine. Bouncing around Gabriel's skull until nothing else fit. You're lying. Gabriel's voice cracked. You have to be lying. Dominic pulled out his phone, pulled up a photo. That night. The bar. Gabriel stumbling out at 2 a.m. Dominic's hand on his lower back. Both of them heading toward a car Gabriel barely remembered. The timestamp read 7 months and 3 weeks ago. The night Marcus left. The night Gabriel's entire life collapsed. I wanted to tell you, Dominic said quietly. But you were so determined to believe I was just some obsessed alpha. I thought if I told you the truth, you'd run. Disappear again. And I couldn't risk that. Gabriel sat down hard on the bed. His hands found his belly automatically, pressing against the child that wasn't Marcus's, wasn't some mystery father's, but Dominic King's. The mafia boss. The killer. The man who'd been watching him for weeks with full knowledge that every moment was a lie. DNA test, Gabriel said. Right now. Prove it. Already done. The doctor yesterday took samples while you were unconscious. Results came back this morning. Dominic held out his phone. Medical documents. Paternity analysis. 99.9% probability that Dominic King was the father of Gabriel Winters's unborn child. Gabriel's vision swam. You tested my baby without permission. I needed proof before I told you. Needed to be certain. You needed control. Gabriel stood, pacing the room, trapped energy with nowhere to go. This whole time, the money, the protection, the concern, it wasn't charity. It was ownership. You were securing your property. That's not fair. Fair? Gabriel laughed, sharp and broken. You've been lying for weeks, watching me struggle when you knew the entire time that baby was yours. You let me think I was alone, that I'd made some drunken mistake with a stranger I'd never see again. You let me suffer. I was trying to what? Control the narrative? Make sure I was dependent before you revealed the truth? Gabriel's hands shook. What happens now? You force a bond? Claim me whether I want it or not? Take the baby and disappear? Dominic's jaw tightened. I would never take your child. But you'd take everything else. Gabriel moved toward the door. I'm leaving. No, you're not. Watch me. Dominic crossed the room in 3 strides, blocking the exit. Not touching Gabriel, but close enough to be a wall. You walk out that door. My enemies will find you in 48 hours. They'll take you, hurt you, kill the baby to hurt me. Is that what you want? I want to not be trapped by a man who's been lying since the beginning. I never lied. I just didn't tell you everything. Same thing. They stared at each other. Gabriel could see the calculation in Dominic's eyes. How to fix this, how to spin it, how to make Gabriel stay. But underneath the calculation was something raw. Desperation. Fear that Gabriel would actually leave, actually risk everything to escape. I care about you, Dominic said quietly. That's not a lie. Maybe it started because of the baby. Because I'd been searching for you, but it became more. You became more. Pretty words from a killer. Honest words from a man who knows he's not good enough for you, but refuses to let you go anyway. Dominic's hand rose, stopped inches from Gabriel's face. I'm trying, Gabriel. Trying to be better than what I am. I'm trying to give you choices even when every instinct says, take what's mine and hold on. Gabriel's throat closed. He wanted to hate Dominic, wanted to rage and fight and refuse everything being offered. But his omega instincts were screaming the opposite. Alpha, father, protector, mine. And his body was too tired to keep fighting both sides. I need air, Gabriel said. You're 42 floors up. Then I need something. Space, time, something that isn't you watching every move. Dominic stepped back, pulled out his phone. There's a terrace, through the living room. It's secure, private. I'll give you an hour. Gabriel pushed past him, found the living room, found the glass doors that led outside to a terrace with plants and furniture and a view that stretched across Manhattan like a promise. The night air was cold. November biting into exposed skin, but Gabriel welcomed it. Reality. Something that hurt in a clean way. He sat on a chair that probably cost more than his old couch, pressed his hands against his belly. The baby moved, rolling and kicking, alive and healthy, and Dominic King's. Gabriel's phone buzzed. Detective Chen. Did you think about my offer? 10 a.m. tomorrow? I can protect you better than King can. Gabriel stared at the message, at the choice. Trust the cop or trust the killer. Both wanted something from him. Both were offering protection that came with strings. His phone rang. Marcus, Gabriel answered. How did you get this number? I have friends who know things. Marcus's voice was the same, Smooth, charming, the voice that had convinced Gabriel to move in together, to trust him with bank accounts and credit cards. Did he tell you yet? Tell me what? That the baby's his, that he's been tracking you since that night, that everything, the cafe, the chance meeting, all of it was planned. Marcus paused. He owns that cafe, Gabriel. Bought it 3 months ago. Made sure you'd be working there when he walked in. Gabriel's stomach dropped. You're lying. Check the business filings. Cafe Meridian, owner, DK Holdings, Dominic King. Another pause. He manufactured the entire thing. The meet cute, the obsession. All of it was manipulation so you'd fall into his trap. Gabriel ended the call, pulled up Google, searched business records for Cafe Meridian. The ownership had changed 4 months ago. New owner, DK Holdings, LLC. Registered to an address in the Upper East Side. Dominic's address. The terrace door opened. Dominic stepped out, 2 mugs in his hands. Brought you tea, caffeine-free. You own the cafe? Gabriel's voice was flat. Dominic set the mugs down. Yes. You bought it so I'd be there when you walked in? Yes. Everything was staged, planned. You created the entire scenario. I needed to meet you naturally. If I'd just approached you on the street, told you the truth, you'd have run. Or worse, not believed me. Dominic sat across from Gabriel. So yes, I bought the cafe. Made sure you'd be working that day. Engineered the meeting. But everything after, my feelings, my concern, my need to protect you, that's real. Gabriel stood. I don't know what's real anymore. This is real. Dominic gestured between them. You, me, the baby. Everything else is just logistics. Logistics. Gabriel laughed. You manipulated my entire life and call it logistics. I gave you a chance to know me before the truth complicated everything. The truth is, I can't trust anything you say. You've lied, manipulated, bought my workplace, monitored my life. You're not protecting me. You're collecting me. Dominic stood. What do you want, Gabriel? Tell me and I'll give it to you. I want to wake up from this nightmare. Can't do that, but I can give you anything else. Gabriel met his eyes. Freedom. Let me leave. No guards, no monitoring, no control. No. Then you don't really want to give me what I want. You want me to want what you're offering. They stood on the terrace, 42 floors above Manhattan, while the city breathed and moved below them. Gabriel's phone buzzed again. The detective, Marcus, them both offering salvation that was probably another trap. Dominic's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression going blank. When? How many? A pause. I'm on my way. He ended the call, looked at Gabriel. The Valentino family just hit one of my warehouses, killed 3 of my men. This is Marcus's doing. He told them where to strike. So handle it. You're good at that. I need you to stay here. Don't answer the door. Don't answer calls from anyone but me. Don't go on the terrace again. They might have snipers. Dominic was already moving, buttoning his shirt, checking a gun Gabriel hadn't noticed before. This is war now, and you're the prize they want. The explosion woke Gabriel at 3 a.m. Not close, somewhere across the city. A boom that rattled windows and sent car alarms screaming. Gabriel rolled out of bed, still one hand on his belly, the other reaching for his phone. No messages, no calls. Just the distant wail of sirens and the knot of dread in his stomach. Dominic hadn't come home. Gabriel had been in the penthouse for 6 hours alone, watching the clock, watching the news, watching footage of a warehouse fire in Queens that the reporters were calling suspicious. 3 dead, they said. Possibly gang-related. Police investigating. Gabriel knew better. That was Dominic's warehouse. Those were Dominic's men. And somewhere in the city, Dominic was doing what he did best, handling problems with bullets and blood. His phone rang. Unknown number. Gabriel almost ignored it. Hello? Gabriel Winters. Different voice. Male, hard. We have Dominic King. You have 30 minutes to meet us, or we send him back in pieces. Gabriel's blood went ice. Where? Brooklyn, Red Hook, Pier 47. Come alone. Tell anyone and he dies. The line went dead. Gabriel stared at his phone, at the choice crystallizing in front of him. Call for help, the police, Dominic's men, anyone, and risk them killing Dominic. Or go alone into a trap and risk them killing both of them, plus the baby. He pressed his hand against his belly. The baby kicked, agitated, sensing Gabriel's panic through their bond. I'm sorry, Gabriel whispered. I have to. He pulled on clothes, grabbed his coat, found cash in Dominic's desk drawer. 3,000 in hundreds. Emergency money that was about to become survival money. He took the private elevator down, slipped past the doorman who was helping a drunk tenant, caught a cab heading toward Brooklyn. The ride took 20 minutes. Gabriel counted every second, watching the city blur past, watching neighborhoods shift from wealthy to working to abandoned. Red Hook at 3 a.m. was empty streets and closed warehouses and darkness that felt alive. Pier 47 was a skeleton, rusted metal, broken windows, water lapping against rotted wood pilings. Gabriel paid the cab, watched it disappear, then walked toward the building alone. They were waiting inside. 5 men, all armed, and in the center tied to a chair with blood running down his face. Dominic. Alive but beaten. One eye swollen shut, jaw bruised purple. Gabriel. Dominic's voice was rough. You shouldn't have come. Touching. The man who spoke stepped forward. Older, gray hair, expensive suit ruined by bloodstains. The pregnant Omega rushing to save his alpha. Very traditional. Gabriel's hands found his belly. Let him go. Sure. Right after you tell me where Dominic keeps his offshore accounts, the passwords, the routing numbers, everything. I don't know anything about that. Liar. The man nodded. Someone hit Dominic across the face. The sound was wet, final. He tells you everything. You're carrying his child, his weakness, his leverage. Gabriel's vision blurred. He doesn't tell me anything. We barely know each other. Then he's stupider than I thought. The man pulled out a gun, pressed it against Dominic's temple. Last chance. Numbers or I put a bullet in his head and raise your baby myself. Gabriel's throat closed. He looked at Dominic, at the blood and bruises and the fierce determination in his one good eye. Dominic shook his head slightly. Don't. Even if it costs me everything. Don't. I don't know, Gabriel whispered. The man cocked the gun. Circuit glass shattered. The building exploded with gunfire. Windows breaking, men shouting, bodies falling. Dominic's chair tipped backward. Gabriel hit the ground, hands protecting his belly, as bullets chewed through metal and wood above him. It lasted 30 seconds. When the smoke cleared, Dominic's men filled the warehouse. 20 of them, armed, efficient, stepping over bodies like furniture. Someone cut Dominic's restraints. He stood, swaying, blood dripping from his split lip. How? The gray-haired man gasped from the floor, holding his bleeding shoulder. Dominic limped toward Gabriel. My Omega wears a tracking chip. Has since the first night. You think I'd let him walk into danger without backup? Gabriel's hand moved to his neck. Found the small bump he'd thought was a swollen lymph node. A chip. Dominic had chipped him like property. Get them out of here, Dominic told his men. Send the message. This is what happens when you touch what's mine. Gunshots. Quick. Professional. The gray-haired man stopped gasping. Dominic pulled Gabriel to his feet. Are you hurt? You chipped me. I protected you. Same thing, right? Gabriel's voice shook. You chip me, monitor me, control everything, all for my protection. Gabriel, I'm done. Gabriel pulled away. I'm done with the lies, the manipulation, the control. I'm done with you. You're carrying my child. Then we'll arrange visitation, custody, whatever legal thing normal people do. But I'm not staying in your world. I'm not becoming another thing you own. Gabriel walked toward the exit. Made it 5 steps before pain ripped through his abdomen. Sharp, tearing, wrong. He gasped, doubling over. Liquid warmth flooding down his legs. Gabriel? Dominic was there, catching him before he fell. What's wrong? The baby. Gabriel's vision whited out. Something's wrong. Dominic scooped him up, carried him through the warehouse, shouting orders Gabriel couldn't process through the pain. A car appeared. The hospital was a blur. Doctors surrounded him, hooking up monitors, checking vital signs, their faces grave. Placental abruption, someone said. We need to deliver now. He's only 32 weeks, someone else argued. Baby's in distress. It's now or we lose them both. Gabriel felt Dominic's hand grip his. Stay with me. Please, I can't lose you both. You already did, Gabriel whispered. Then the drugs pulled him under. He woke to silence. Hospital room. Monitors beeping. IV in his arm. And sitting beside the bed, and holding a bundle wrapped in blue, Dominic. He's perfect, Dominic said quietly. 4 pounds, breathing on his own, strong, like his father. Gabriel's arms ached to hold his baby. Let me see him. Dominic stood, carefully transferring the bundle to Gabriel's chest. The baby was tiny, red-faced, with a shock of dark hair and eyes that hadn't decided their color yet. He made small noises, rooting toward Gabriel's chest, seeking comfort. I named him Elijah, Dominic said. After my father, if that's okay. Gabriel looked at his son, at this perfect, fragile thing that was half him and half the man who'd lied and manipulated and protected all at once. Elijah Gabriel Winters. Elijah Gabriel King, Dominic corrected softly. We're not married. Not yet. Dominic sat on the edge of the bed. But we will be. When you're ready. When you trust me again. However long that takes. Gabriel met his eyes. What if I never trust you? Then I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. Dominic's hand covered Gabriel's, both of them touching their son. I know what I am. What I've done. The lies I told myself were protection. But this, he gestured to Elijah. This is truth. This is what matters. And I'll burn down my entire empire before I let anything happen to either of you. Gabriel wanted to believe him, wanted to trust that Dominic could be more than manipulation and violence. But trust was earned, not given, and Dominic had a long way to go. Okay, Gabriel said finally. You want to earn my trust? Then give me real choice, real freedom. No chips, no monitoring, no control. Done. And I want my own place. Near you, maybe, but mine. where I can raise Elijah and know I'm not dependent. I'll buy you a building. That's not, Gabriel stopped. You're impossible. I'm in love with you. Dominic said it simply, factually. Have been since that night 7 months ago. Probably will be until I die. Everything else is just logistics. Elijah made a small sound. Both of them looked down at their son, at this life they'd created in chaos and blood and desperation. He was beautiful, perfect, worth every fight. I don't love you, Gabriel said. I know. Dominic's smile was sad. But maybe someday. Maybe. It wasn't a promise, wasn't a commitment, but it was enough. For now, for this moment, for the family they'd accidentally created and the future they'd have to figure out together. Outside, Manhattan woke to another morning. The Valentino family was in pieces. Dominic's empire stood stronger. And in a hospital room overlooking the city, an Omega and an Alpha held their son and pretended the world was simple. It wasn't. It never would be. But it was theirs. And sometimes, that was enough. Thank you so much for joining us on this emotional journey through Gabriel and Dominic's story. If you enjoyed watching love emerge from chaos, protection battle with control, and family form in the most unexpected ways, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. Every tale we share explores the complexity of human connection, the weight of choices, and the power of second chances. Drop a comment below and let us know what you thought. Did Dominic earn redemption, or did Gabriel settle too easily? Your thoughts inspire others and help build our community of story lovers. Until next time, remember that even in the darkest circumstances, hope can take root and grow into something beautiful. See you in the next story.